Hello, everybody. Welcome to the week ahead news show. It is just me today. Tommy's not able to make it. Hope everyone's having a great Monday and a great start to their weeks. This is on Billy Doodle channel, Billy Doodle Show Network. We have other shows on Thursday for Northeast Ohio Sports Show with me and Hunter. He'll be in here this week. And then Sundays are Healthy Living. We were out this week for Healthy Living because Trevor finally moved. I wanted to give him a week off. Once again, I hope everyone's having a great Monday. And this is episode 22, and it is 8/4, August 4th. Welcome to August, our first show in August. And our 22nd show that we've done. Today, the high was 81, low of 59, cloudy. Tomorrow, cloudy, mostly sunny, 83, 61. Wednesday is sunny, 82, 61. Thursday is partly cloudy, 82, 65. Friday, partly cloudy, 84, 66. Saturday, 86, 65, partly cloudy. Sunday, partly cloudy, 87, 67. Monday, partly cloudy. Next Monday, 83, 68. So it's going to get a little bit hotter, staying around the same now. Gotta water your plants if you have any fall gardens coming in from all this heat. Let me check stocks real quick, because I was going to check it up on my iPad. Excuse me, guys. So the Dow Jones for month over is past week is negative 1.5, past month negative 3, past 3 months plus 7, past 6 months negative 1.5, year to date plus 420. S&P, and we can see the days above us were slightly in the green percentage wise. Looks like 1 to 2% today. The Dow Jones, S&P, bang. Past week was negative. It's not giving me percents for some reason. Oh, it's coming in. It takes a second. Negative 73 points for the S&P. Past month is plus 77. Past 3 months plus 670. This is points. I gave you percents before. 6 months plus 270 points. Year to date plus 476 to the S&P 500. Past year plus 1,000 points. For the Dow Jones past year plus 50 to 400 points. Our funny topic today is about how people got sick from drinking raw milk in Florida. Raw risk. There's an outbreak and why it matters. Unpasteurized milk from a single farm led an outbreak that sickened 21 people, including 6 children. The Florida Department of Health reported it. E. coli and Campylobacterial infections traced to raw milk, with several hospitalized and 2 experiencing severe complications, including potential kidney failure. Officials did not name the farm, but noted sanitation and milking practices raised safety concerns. 6 cases involving children under 10. RIP development. There's legal in cultural context, because selling raw milk is illegal in Florida. It can only be sold as pet food. Yet many consumers knowingly purchase it and drink it for perceived benefits because they dumb. Advocates claim raw milk offers better flavor and natural enzymes. Some even linked improvements in thyroid and immune health to raw milk use. And you might, but that's still bad for you because you can get sick, and then you're kind of like drinking something that we're not supposed to be drinking cow's milk anyway, so let's just make it safe. Federal agencies like the CDC, FDA, and the American Academy for Pediatrics strongly warn against consuming raw milk, citing that it is 150 times more likely to cause an illness from pasteurized milk. Since 1987, there's been about 143 outbreaks tied to raw milk in the U.S. involving illnesses like miscarriages, stillbirths, kidney failure, and even deaths. Keeps happening because people still sell it, but like I keep saying, I kind of think it's dumb. I'll be a little bit quicker this week just because it's me, and no Tommy input. Have a quicker episode for everyone. Our first national topic is that Diddy staying locked up. His bail was denied again ahead of sentencing. On August 4th, a New York federal judge denied Sean Diddy Combs' latest request for bail, rejecting his offer of house arrest in Miami, a $50 million bond, and electronic monitoring as insufficient to assure public safety and prevent flight. Yeah, knowing him, he got money. He always wants to leave. Judge emphasized Combs' history of violence and disregard for witness integrity, citing both past domestic incidents and the recent conviction. Convincing on timeline, in July 20, Combs was convicted on 2 federal counts of transportation to facilitate prostitution, while being acquitted of sex trafficking and racketeering, charges that once carried potential life sentences. The prosecution now seeks a significantly longer sentence than the initial 4 to 5 years estimate, escalating the stakes for Combs. The defendant argues bail on the basis that he would be acquitted of higher charges and claims that he was acquitted of higher charges and claims that his acts fall under the consensual adult relationships, not criminal exploitation. He has repeatedly proposed strict conditions, including travel restrictions and surrendering passports. One formal accuser, but Diddy has enough money for a plane, so it doesn't matter. Like, he has planes, it doesn't matter if he has a passport. One former accuser, identified as victim 3, Virginia Genia Hayuf, wrote the court this week, citing for leniency and describing him as a cooperative, nonviolent, and a changed man. But defense has even contested the applicability of the Mann Act, and misapplied it in consensual relationships. I ain't too much of a lawyer, so I don't really know what that means. But we know what happened, so it doesn't. He only got charged for what I said before, for prostitution and bringing someone over state lines for it. His sentencing is scheduled for October 3rd, with potential prison terms between 4 to 10 years, potentially longer depending on judge discretion and revised guidelines. He remains at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a facility scrutinized for harsh conditions and dangerous incidents. He's served nearly a year already, and 10 months will count towards his sentence. Let me throw this away real quick. You guys might hear me. I'll take a quick sip, but I'll mute myself. The first local topic of the night is about Foxconn in Lordstown. There's a rewound. Foxconn sold the plant, All Future, AI Future. Foxconn finalized the sale of its Lordstown assembly plant for $88 million in land assets and $287 million in machinery. I believe it's 10 more than what they bought it for. To Crescent Dune LLC, an existing business partner, bringing the total deal to $375 million. Despite the sale, Foxconn remained operations on site, transforming the former GM small car plant into a manufacturing hub for AI and cloud computing hardware. A strategic pivot. This move marks a shift from the EV production plans, once tied to Lordstown Motors and Fisker Pear, a stronger focus on AI centers and networking gear supported by partnerships with NVIDIA and Apple. The plant size, 6.2 million square feet, nearly 6 times a similar Foxconn facility in Houston, makes it ideal for future expansion in AI hardware production. Guy Cavello, CEO of the Youngstown Warren Regional Chamber, called it a pivotal moment in positions for Lordstown, advanced manufacturing, and economic opportunity. He praised Foxconn as an outstanding corporate citizen. Although the EV dreams faded, Foxconn's continued presence and the sale proceeded toward reinvent. Back in the U.S. operation, selling long-term commitment for a reason. Probably not as many workers, though, as a plant. People just, watching AI computers all day. Building it will take a bit, but then there's people watching them and managing them. They do take lots of water, though, and hurt the environment long term. A big picture and strategical trends remove ties into broader shifts to U.S. industrial policy. Federal focus is pivoting from EV subsidies to building AI infrastructure, as outlined in recent admin directives, and without, allowing states to freaking regulate AI for 10 years. This is really going to affect us. Like passing that big, beautiful bill. Foxcom's investment aligns with a global strategy shift from iPhone assembly towards cloud. Shift from iPhone assembly towards cloud networking, AI, data center growth, where server devices are now a significant portion of the revenue. And we know, like I said, not that many people will be working there as before, which is sad. Will AI hardware production bring more jobs, like I said, than EV ever did? No, because plants that produce cars will have way more workers than just a AI center. Will local suppliers and workforce programs pivot from this tech leading evolution? Maybe for people like that want to be techs for it, but for jobs that aren't going to be at, we're not going to have these plants everywhere like other industry. That's just not how it works. Like we're going to have AI power, but we're going to get to a point where we're going to stop. Kind of like with some of our industry, we have an excess of, zoned industry land in America that's just sitting there with or without buildings. And now we're seeing that with other things. We saw that with the steel mills. Um, excuse me. We don't really need to be seeing that. Well, and now we're seeing it with also warehouses. Well, there's empty warehouses for lease right now. It's been years. Amazon, no other big people have moved in. My big cat, no other people have moved into those areas. So we definitely have an oversur. We need to stop building so much. Can Foxconn fulfill its promise to retain speed and flexibility in ramping automotive capacity if needed? Probably not. If they bring computers in there, it takes time to retool everything. National News 2 is basically about how there's a new probe. Old headlines for DOJ grand jury reopens for Russiagate origins. Pam Bondi, who we know she's very smart. No, she's not that smart. Directed a DOJ prosecutor to present evidence to a grand jury exploring whether Obama-era officials, including James Comey, John Brennan, and James Clapper, orchestrated a false narrative linking Trump to Russia to undermine his presidency. I wonder what that's going to come up, because someone like me even thought that, not Russiagate that was real, but Russia themselves, which this is, I know friends that worked in this kind of stuff and actually reading it. I always kind of thought Russia just backed a bunch of online trolls in Russia to spread false information on social media, and we were able through the certain security agencies find out that Russia was linked to that because of a communication throughout all of them. But that they were basically just pushing a bunch of all these false narratives online. Now, even in my head, I never linked that to Trump, but I said, it helped Trump win because he won the election. And Russia was pushing it for a reason, you know what I mean? And, they were pushing pro-Trump, anti-Hillary narrative stuff online. I even remember, before AI, there was a bunch of this fake news stuff. It's interesting because, people that don't speak English, they were able to get, brainwashed into believing other stuff just because of subtitles, and it's crazy how people can get miseducated online. The move stems from a criminal referral by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, also incredibly smart woman, who alleges declassified intelligence shows the Trump-Russia narrative was politically motivated and misleading. And that's something, too. You'll see as a defense, just in politics and in life, if you say something about someone, they just start making it look way worse. Or, you're like, oh, well, this helped you win. And it's like, well, I didn't do it. Well, you may have not did it, but it still helped you win. And well, you're saying I did it. Well, that's not what we're saying. We're just saying that someone else did it and it helped you win. We're not saying you did it, someone else. So it's kind of a lot of times when you're dealing with people, and it shouldn't be in politics, but a lot of people in politics are ignorant, can't really, that's a defensive that they have. That's illogical. This reinvestigation focuses on the Crossfire or hurricane origins beginning in 2016 and whether intelligence to agencies improperly framed Trump's campaign. Previous inquiries, including Mueller and Durham, found no evidence of collusion, though they criticized procedural aspects and surveillance conduct by the FBI. Today, critics warn the DOJ is becoming overly politicized under Trump's second term. Concern echoed by former officials and legal experts and people that are fair like me. You can't say, oh, well, Cause like we saw this with Hunter Biden, and just because that uh, for left, and it wasn't even federally went after Trump. Some people in Congress did, but not the DOJ and the executive side going after Trump. That was for state. Trump this is just a butthurt about it, going after everyone. Targets remain unidentified. No charges filed yet, but potential scrutiny includes allegations of false testimony to Congress or suspension of intelligence suggestion no Russian impacts on voting system, which I believe is not right. And it might not even be systems, but I wonder like what that means. If that means like for computers themselves or as people and like how they voted, the system of voting in America. And the legal uncertainty looms. Statute of limitations might prevent major courts unless treason is considered, which is scary because Trump's an authoritarian, which has no time limit. Experts say evidence and timing will dictate how far a probe can go. For political undercurrents, supporters cast the investigation as a vindication for Trump and corrective step to unfollow intelligence. I don't for critics, including cross-party lines, argue so both party lines. There's little substance beyond claims already examined by 2 other reports. Then a last topic, which is local 2, is reviving the Belmont Avenue Corridor Week and Community Vision. A corridor planning meeting is scheduled for August 5th, tomorrow, at 11:30 a.m. at Liberty Township, where Township trustees and MS consultants will discuss updated corridor plans of public input for 4.7. Corridor extends downtown Youngstown to I-80 interchange in Liberty Township, serving as a key artery for business, transit, and daily travel in Mahoning and Trumbull counties. Really good idea. To Eastgate Project, why it matters. Belmont Avenue is high in crash zones. Segments like Churchill Hubbard to Naylor Lloyd rank among top safety concerns, primary for rear end and failure to yield accidents in poorly lit areas. The corridor is home to diverse, internationally owned businesses, which I love, and critical institutions like Mercy Health and Youngstown State University. Up in Belmont, you got Jimmy's, you got a bunch of Indian restaurants, you got Kravitz. The place is amazing. The planners are proposing safety upgrades, crosswalks, lighting improvements, potential sidewalk expansions, especially near Churchill Park and commercial nodes, which is awesome. I'd love to see that. Streetscape plans new sidewalks proposed between Liberty Street and Route 304. I think that's Churchill. Widening signage and beautification efforts to update for look for business would be awesome. I get some trees in there. No sidewalks, zoning and access management, ideas to consolidate driveways, support mixed-use development, modernize signage guidelines, and enhance walkability and curb appeal, which would be great. The stakeholder voices, Trustee Arnie Claiborne indicates Liberty Township is preparing grants and bids for major sidewalk and lighting crosswalk improvements near transit stops and retail hubs. From the Youngstown side, the city partnered with MS Consultants and received a $200,000 grant from the Ohio Appalachian Regional Commission, targeted boosting in commercial sales corridors like Belmont. And that's it for me, guys. I want to get a little bit done right before 9. Quick episode. Thank you for watching. Once again, if you've started watching, drop a like. Make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on. If you turn notifications on and you hit all anytime we go live, it'll pop up on your phone, so you can just click it and watch us. I'll update weather before bedtime. Yeah, 72 degrees. Hope everyone's enjoying the show. We'll be back here Thursday for the Northeast Ohio Sports Show.